I'm here at the San Diego Zoo, one of the most famous and respected zoos in the world. And there are a lot of changes going on here, as with its sister, the San Diego Wild Animal Park. So I'm here to see what all the action's about. San Diego embarked on its new master plan a few years ago, a plan calling for the creation of a third-generation zoo, organized not around individual animal species, but around the Earth's climatic zones and natural habitats. A key idea here is to display the animals and plants together, the way they live in nature. So I started my San Diego exploration with a nature walk through the recently completed gorilla tropics. My guide was the zoo's expert on plants, Charles Colbert.
I've always loved nature, and I've always loved plants and gardens, but here you get an opportunity to combine the garden with the animals and try to recreate, simulate natural habitats where you've got plants and animals living together, those interdependencies and life forms.
This whole place looks just like a jungle.
That's the whole idea. We really look at the way nature looks and try to, at least to some degree, try to simulate that, try to recreate that here and give people some feeling of what the natural world is like. We have birds that migrate through and spend a little time here, and particularly in our pool areas, they're very attractive for those birds.
This pool looks so natural.
We added vegetation. We have biofilters which circulate and purify the water. We added fish so that the birds in here have more natural behavior. You can see them out there actually fishing successfully. We have fish in there that eat the mosquito larvae, and it's a kind of an ongoing biosystem. It kind of takes on a life of its own. One of the most important things we can be doing here, aside from the actual propagation of species, is the education that we have the opportunity to convey to people. We have over 3 million guests a year coming into the zoo, and we have them here sometimes for hours, and we can have them re-embrace nature, reawaken to nature.
Now, Charles, with this gorilla exhibit here, it's as natural as well. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the idea is to reproduce to some extent anyway, tropical Africa. So this looks something like the home that the gorillas would be found in.
Oh, I tell you, I've been there. It looks exactly like where they live.
Thank you very much.
So the people have to really look for the gorillas to find them, don't they? They might not just be here.
That's really the idea. We give the gorillas spaces to be in. They can come right up to the people if they choose to, but they can also have their privacy if they need to. We think that's better off for the gorillas and for the public. I think it reinforces a notion that it's accurate, that if you're in the wild, you don't always see the gorillas, and you don't necessarily appreciate something if it's always right in front of you.
Oh, there's one right over there.
Yep, there he is.
Yeah, people get excited.
That's right.
Oh, look at that. This is an aviary?
We're coming up on an aviary, passing by some coffee trees. This is euphoria plant, bananas, citrus, other things that people might have around their villages in an African setting.
And what kind of birds are in here?
Well, we've got birds from many parts of the world. The emphasis is on African birds, and create a place for them where they can nest and fly and exhibit their natural behaviors.
It just seems so real in here.
What is that? Sounds like thunder to me.
That's pretty natural, isn't it?
And what's natural too? Whoa, it's starting to rain.
Don't believe it.
I think when you take any animal from the wild, then you have a big responsibility for the well-being of that animal. And so part of that carries over into the exhibits that we design and build for them.
The most recent third-generation experiment is the exhibit for the bonobos, also called pygmy chimps. Bonobos, rare animals from Zaire, Africa, are by nature active and extremely intelligent primates, so designing an adequate space for them was quite a challenge.
Yeah. Well, it just opened up last Saturday.
Oh, there's one coming right over there.
Yeah, there are 5 of them in here right now.
How do you keep tearing this up?
But we hope they don't tear it all up. The idea in this case was largely based on what we know about the way these animals act. They're very playful, they're very active, very social animals. People love to see them, so we gave the people different vantage points into the place, and we also tried to provide the animals with a setting that would allow for what they naturally do in the wild.
They were so close. Look at this, right there.
A lot of times the people will be right on one side of the glass and the chimps are interacting with them. They wave to them and bang on the glass and they have a good time.
Bonobos offer a special fascination for us. Watching them, you sense that there's something uncannily familiar about them. This is not coincidental, as I found out from senior mammal keeper Gail Fowen.
Yeah. They say that these animals are the most similar to humans. Is that true? Genetically, they're supposed to be very much the closest related to humans. The percentage that's different is amazingly small. It's 1 or 2% different genetic material.
The San Diego Wild Animal Park is a sister organization to the zoo, located about 45 minutes away. The original idea was to provide a large protected area for those rare or endangered animals that might need open spaces to breed. Allowed to live as they would in the wild, their numbers began to increase dramatically. Since 1972, the park has been open to visitors who view the herds of animals roaming across large natural settings. I talked with Doug Meyer, director of the Zoological Society of San Diego, about the success of the Wild Animal Park.
When I started in the zoo business, Jack, about 20 years ago, we used to talk about the reintroduction of the species in the wild. And I think these are things that the San Diego Zoo and Wild Animal Park have been a part of or the leaders in. So zoos are truly returning animals to the wild. That has been the biggest difference in the last couple decades.
Curator of mammals Randy Rikas drove me into the park to show me a real success story in animal conservation, the comeback of the southern white rhino.
The area that we're in right now, South Africa, was the first exhibit that was opened here at the Wild Animal Park. And in fact, one of the first specimens that we released into South Africa was the southern white rhino.
As far as the southern white rhino, were these animals almost extinct at the turn of the century?
There was only about 20 left in Africa, and right now the population is very, very stable within zoos. And the wild population has been brought back to about 4,600 animals.
Randy next took me to another section of the park to see a close relative of the southern white rhino, the northern white. These animals, originally from Central Africa, now hover on the brink of extinction. So this is the northern white rhino?
That's correct. This is the male that we brought in from Khartoum.
Wow, look at this. Is he going to come up here in the truck?
Yep, he'll come in.
He needs something else. Come here. Here he comes.
This is probably the most endangered large land mammal on the face of the earth today.
Really? How many left?
In Zaire, there's roughly 28 right now.
In Zaire?
In Zaire,
Because
that is correct.
there's wars in Zaire.
That is correct. There are 4 here at the San Diego Wild Animal Park, 2 males and 2 females. And there's about 8 in Drukalova, Czechoslovakia right now.
Is he going to come right in the truck with me?
Yeah. Hopefully not in the truck with you, but he'll come up to the truck.
Does he like carrots, I hope?
Mm-hmm.
He won't eat the truck, will he? Gee, there's creepers. He's going to come in the window. Oh, man, he just hit the door. I'm sorry about that. Just wrecked your truck. He looks like he's going to puncture a hole in our tire.
Occasionally they do get a little rambunctious with the vehicles.
Don't hit the tire much. Hey, leave that tire alone. Look how he moves the bed of the truck.
He can pick up the back of the truck off the ground with virtually no problem at all.
Oh, great.
He's playing around trying to see what's inside the truck.
Come here, one more carrot. That's all I got. There. Then we'll go up and see your girlfriends. Then we'll go up and see the girlfriends, okay? Nice one. Oh, he's big. Man.
These two here are the females. The one closest to us is Nadi, and the one on the other side of us is Nola here. And it's very unfortunate that these two females that are here don't seem to reproduce because they could add a lot to the genetic gene pool. We can get out here, we'll walk around, and we'll just watch them, and as long as we stay close to the truck, we'll be fine. What we're doing with them is we're doing reproductive examinations and logistically trying to figure out why they don't reproduce, why they don't run a cycle.
Why'd you get upset?
The male is now approaching, and unfortunately this is what happens. They never cycle, so anytime the male approaches the two females, they react aggressively rather than in a reproductive situation where they would let him breed. What we see now is that, you're okay. What we see now is that these two cows.
What I see, that's 6,000 cows of an animal. That's what I see. Have to reproduce it. But
Yeah, you're okay.
Yeah, you're all right.
You're all right. You're okay. Come on. You're all right. You're okay.
the main difference again then in the southern and the northern is what this is the northern we're looking at.
From the top of their ears to the base of their nose, you will notice on a northern white rhinoceros that it is much longer and a little bit narrower than what you would see in a southern white rhinoceros. And that's one of the only outside characteristics that you can visually tell the difference with. And you would have to have them standing side by side to really differentiate between the two.
So do you still have hope to save the northern species?
If we can protect the animals that are in the wild and keep them breeding, and if Czechoslovakia can keep breeding the numbers that they are right now, and if we can figure out what is wrong with some of these older females, why they're not reproducing, there's no reason to believe that we cannot save northern white rhinoceros, because we brought southern white rhinoceros back from the brink of extinction with only 20 animals. It would be absolutely incredible to see something like this become extinct.
Education about the status of endangered animals is vital to the survival of numerous species. So here's the message from Jungle Jack. Listen up to the animal rap.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
Hey, Jungle Jack, come on and rap.
All right.
Yo, I'm a living creature. We're all living creatures. We act like a theater with humans the main feature. We gotta realize we share the world and the planet. Gotta open our eyes, the animals are gonna get it. Don't you see? With things like DDT, the bald eagle, the symbol, risk of coming extinct. It isn't funny. In fact, it's kind of whack. When we're killing animals for the fur in the back, or for the horns in the head, we add bloodshed. Built homes and highways so they couldn't spread. You heard what I said, but do you know what I meant? We're losing wildlife, the city environment. Respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. We gotta move now if we ever want to see the African elephant or the humpback whale. Turn things around, G. Thoughts must excel in helping the tiger, the cheetah, the jaguar, and animals' lives who are put on the backfire. It's the truth, group. No, it's not a myth. If we don't stop, we'll be the only ones left.